I have a little bit of time left. So for this time, I did write notes for like spoilers and stuff. I am not going to mention it here, other than we get the first appearance of George Lucas's favorite EU character. Enough said. That's way later though. I have three things to talk to you about today. We have Star Wars Bounty Hunter, the video game, Jango Fett Open Seasons, the 4-issue comic series, and the 6-issue comic series, Emissaries of Malastare. And that's all I have to talk about today. Like I said, if I had more time, I would go into spoilers. I'm not going to really do that today. I did write stuff down, though. So I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to make sure I at least got the main stuff out. So, the main plot of the Star Wars Bounty Hunter video game, which would be the next thing chronologically, is that Darth Sidious is talking to his newly appointed apprentice, Darth Tyrannus, aka Count Dooku, and he's asking Dooku to take care of Kumari Vosa. Kumari Vosa being Dooku's former apprentice after Qui-Gon Jinn, of course. And she is in charge of this cult called the Bandagora, and they are being a thorn in the side for the Republic, but they're also getting in the way of Palpatine's plans. And Palpatine does not see the Bandagora as a part of his grand plan for the future. So he wants them annihilated, to be wiped out, all of them. And at this point in time, if you've read the Darth Plagueis novel, and also the comic series Jedi Council Acts of War, you know about the Yanchuri crisis. Now, originally, when Palpatine and Plagueis, who is no longer with us by this time, but back when he was, they were trying to find a clone army. They had gotten this idea fairly, it was a couple years before Phantom Menace, where they had already decided this was the plan. They needed a clone army. And at first they thought the Yanchuri. The Yanchuri did not work out. So they had to find a new template. And as of right now, this is after episode 1. They still don't have a template for the clone army. So, Dooku gets the idea, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Hire the best bounty hunters of this current time period. Obviously, Boba Fett isn't in the play yet. And whoever's able to kill Kumari Vosa, a Force user, is the one that we'll use for the template of the clone army. Obviously, Jango Fett wins. He also gets rid of Gardula the Hutt's still around. He originally was going to, but, no, that did happen, because Outlander was before this. Right, so he does get rid of Gardula the Hutt. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, but, I mean, I don't know. It's an old game. But just because she's not around after this, so that's why I mention it. In the game, the only thing that's really a big issue is that by the end of the game, Dooku meets up with Jango, killing Kumari Vosa, and basically having the same line of dialogue that he has in the Jango Fett Open Seasons comic book series, but it happens like at the cult area, right after Boba Fett defeats him. Basically being, I will be your clone template as long as the first clone is unaltered, and I get to keep him, Boba Fett. So switching over, I'm sorry if I spoiled the Gardula thing for you. I apologize. It's not like a big story point or anything. Like, it happens really quickly. But anyway, on to, sorry, that was my dog, Boba Fett, Jango Fett Open Seasons. The reason it's placed here is because the framing device being Count Dooku on Sereno, waiting for Jango Fett to complete his mission. And that's the thing that's kind of contradictory. They have the same basic conversation that they have at the end of the game, but on Sereno, at Count Dooku's home. But comics and novels were always more canon than video games. So all you have to do, I mean, the events of the video game still happen, just that ending didn't. Or at least, like, in the sense that Dooku didn't show up. They had that conversation elsewhere. And then, instead of Count Dooku just taking the lightsabers from Kamari Vosa at the place, he asked Jango to bring them to him as, I guess, like proof that he did it, and to give him the lightsabers. The reason I mention this is because this isn't really said anywhere, I don't think. But if you know Asajj Ventress from the Clone Wars, the bald chick, and you know her unique lightsabers, those are originally Komari Vosa's. So Dooku gives that to her. But anyway, most of Open Seasons, but since the present day is now, that's why it's placed here. But the majority of it is a flashback, basically giving us a Jango Fett origin story. We also get to learn about a character named Jasper Murreal. Not too much, but we get a little about him. And I'm not going to go. I'm not going to spoil anything. Like I said, I think this comic is absolutely fantastic. You need to read it. But it's only 4 issues. But in the EU, before this comic, there was sort of an established story for Boba Fett. He was a man named Jasper Murreal who lived on Conquered Dawn. I don't want to spoil anything else for you in case you decide to read like Tales of the Bounty Hunters or whatever, or other stories with Boba. But that was a thing. That was like his original name or whatever. That was like what came up. And so when episode 2 came out, it was a big contradiction. It was like, oh, well, George Lucas doesn't care about the EU. It's now contradictory to the EU. And, it was a contradiction for a bit until this comic came out. Because now you have a Mandalorian named Jasper Murreal who kind of took Jango Fett in. And you can imagine that Jango Fett probably told Boba Fett about Jasper Murreal. So later on in life, for a time at least, he goes under the alias of Jasper Murreal, and all the events of Conquered Dawn still happen. No contradiction. And I absolutely love that. I love that about the EU. How the EU, with time, you never had to worry because there would always be a fix for something and everything would fit into one, almost not perfect, but almost like 95% just fluid continuity. And I love that. I absolutely adore that about the EU, for sure. But yeah, absolutely fantastic 4-issue series. I hate the art. Or I shouldn't, I hate it. I'm not a fan of the art. It's the same art that you saw in like Jedi versus Sith, or there's another one where it looked like that. And I don't dig that art style, but it's fine. Just not my cup of tea. It's not what I prefer. I prefer more stuff that we saw in Legacy and whatnot. Lastly, we have Emissaries of Malastare. We have a bunch of Jedi Masters. We have Mace Windu, Adi Gali, Evan Peel, Plo Koon, Kiadamundi, and his newly appointed apprentice, Asherod Het, Yaddle, and I think that's it. There might be a few others that I'm forgetting, but that's the gist. I don't really want to tell you too much about the comic book itself. Like you can go read those issues, but there's a lot of actual like character like history developed for certain characters, like for Evan Peel, Adi Gali. We get some stuff there, and we get more stuff, of course, with Asherod Het. Even some stuff with Mace Windu, which is really nice. And it's also the first time we get to see Quinlan Vos. He only shows up for like a panel or a couple panels, but it's really cool. He's going to become a big character in the expanded universe, at least comic book wise. So we'll see much more of him moving forward. But this is the first time we saw him chronologically. So very, very cool indeed. And yeah, we also get to see Sebulba again, which is all I'll say because it's on Malastare. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, overall, these, different comic books and the video game were all really, really cool. It's great to learn what's happened between the Mandalorians in between the time of the Old Republic to now, because you don't really see a lot of them like hanging around. It is a bit, there is a Death Watch, sort of similar to TCW, but we'll get to it when we get to that. But yeah, overall, these issues were absolutely fantastic. The video game, I watched the Let's Play, so I can't talk for the gameplay, but I thought the story was fairly decent. There's also a character he meets in the video game, which I won't spoil since I spoiled the Gardulla thing for you. But, I'll say you know him from episode 2. That's all I'll say. Or her. That's it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry, I try my best to not be spoilery. I just didn't have a spoilery section, and it kind of just slipped out. So I hope, like, two Star Wars nerds, if you're watching, I apologize. I try to make sure I don't, spoil anything for you guys or for anyone here. But thank you all so much for watching. I'm gonna go head to work now, and I hope you all have a fantastic and wonderful rest of your day. And may the Force be with you. Until next time.